The colony world of HFY had been peaceful for exactly 93 days. Captain Mara Ellen had counted each one, marking them on her personal log as small victories against the chaos that usually defined humanity's expansion into Vryn territory. The Vryn were apex predators in every sense, 8 feet of scaled muscle, retractable claws that could shred duraplast, and a bite force that exceeded anything Earth's evolutionary history had produced. Their society valued strength above all else, and they had initially viewed humans as nothing more than prey animals who had somehow stumbled into space. Travel, soft, weak, breakable. Mara had spent those 93 days proving them wrong. Not through combat, but through something the Vryn hadn't expected: compassion. She worked at the interspecies education facility on the colony's eastern district, where young Vryn cubs learned alongside human children. It was a diplomatic experiment, one that many on both sides had predicted would end in bloodshed. Instead, Mara had watched as cubs and children formed unlikely friendships, playing games that transcended language barriers and cultural differences. The attack came on day 94. The separatist faction called themselves the Pureblood Coalition, Vryn supremacists who viewed any cooperation with humans as contamination of their warrior heritage. They had been planning for months, waiting for the perfect moment to make their statement. That moment came during afternoon recreation when Mara was supervising 6 Vryn cubs in the outdoor courtyard. The cubs were young, barely past their first molt, their scales still soft and vulnerable. In human terms, they were kindergartners' children who should have been worried about nothing more serious than which games to play. The first gunshot shattered the afternoon calm like breaking glass. Mara's military training kicked in instantly. She had served 2 tours in the Colonial Defense Force before taking this teaching position, and her body remembered what her mind might have wanted to forget. She saw the 3 figures on the rooftop across the courtyard, saw the glint of rifle barrels, saw the intent in their posture. She had perhaps 3 seconds to make a decision. The cubs were frozen, their predatory instincts paradoxically useless against ranged weapons. They were built to charge, to fight, to dominate through physical prowess. But against bullets fired from 200 meters away, their evolutionary advantages meant nothing. Mara didn't think, she moved. She threw herself over the nearest cub, her body becoming a shield of flesh and bone. The other cubs scattered, and she called out to them, her voice somehow steady despite the terror flooding her system. "To me! Get to me!" Something in her tone, perhaps, the same command authority that had made her an effective officer cut through their panic. The cubs ran to her, and she gathered them close, curling her body around all 6 of them like a human fortress. The second shot hit her left shoulder. The impact felt like being struck by a sledgehammer, and her vision went white with pain. She bit down on a scream, refusing to frighten the cubs further. The third shot took her in the lower back. She felt something fundamental break inside her, felt her legs go suddenly, terrifyingly numb. The 4th shot never came. Commander Raktalan of the Elite Guard had received the distress signal 17 seconds after the first shot was fired. His unit was 3 minutes away, an eternity in combat time. He had pushed his transport to dangerous speeds, had shouted orders into his unit, had done everything a commander could do. It wasn't enough. When his team burst into the courtyard, weapons drawn and ready, they found Mara Ellen collapsed in the center of a circle of cubs, her body riddled with bullets, her blood pooling on the permacrete. The separatists had fled, their statement made. The cubs were unharmed, huddled together, keening in distress. But Mara was dying. Rak had seen countless deaths in his career. He was a warrior, bred and trained for combat, his emotions carefully controlled and channeled in tactical efficiency. But when he knelt beside the small human female and saw what she had done, saw the trajectory angles, saw the deliberate positioning of her body, saw the mathematical certainty that every bullet in her flesh would have otherwise struck a cub, something inside his carefully constructed emotional walls cracked. "Why?" he asked, his translator rendering the Vryn word into something approximating human speech. "Why would you do this?" Mara's eyes fluttered open, unfocused and glazed with pain. Blood trickled from the corner of her mouth. "They're children," she whispered. "Doesn't matter. What species? Just ... children." The medevac arrived within minutes, but minutes were too long. Mara Ellen died before they could get her to surgery, her last breath rattling out while Commander Raktalan held her hand. His claws carefully retracted so as not to hurt her fragile human skin. The cubs survived, all 6 of them without so much as a scratch. The funeral was held 3 days later. By Vryn tradition, warriors who fell in battle were honored with fire and song, their names carved into the memorial cliffs to be remembered for generations. By human tradition, Captain Mara Ellen should have been given a simple military burial, her coffin draped with Earth's flag. Instead, the Vryn broke 1,000 years of tradition. They carved her name into the memorial cliffs alongside their greatest warriors. They sang the death songs usually reserved for pack leaders and war chiefs. And every member of the elite guard stood witness, their posture rigid with a grief that transcended species. Commander Raktalan spoke the final words, his voice carrying across the assembled crowd of humans and Vryn alike. "We arrived too late," he said, and for the first time in his career, he let emotion crack his voice. "We failed to protect one who protected our young. This failure will be carried by the elite guard for all our days. We will never forget. We will never forgive ourselves." He paused, looking at the 6 cubs standing in the front row, their scales still soft, their eyes still innocent despite what they had witnessed. "But we will honor her." Captain Mara Ellen showed us what humanity truly is: not weakness disguised as compassion, but strength expressed through sacrifice. She absorbed what bullets meant for our cubs. She gave everything so that our children might live. Rak touched his clawed hand to his chest in the Vryn salute of ultimate respect. Behind him, every elite guard member did the same. "From this day forward, any human who walks Vryn worlds walks as pack. This is our oath, sworn in blood and carved in stone." Captain Mara Ellen's sacrifice will echo through our history, a reminder that the strongest armor is not scales or steel, but the courage to shield the defenseless. The 6 cubs stepped forward, and in voices still high with youth, they howled her name to the sky, a sound that was picked up by every Vryn present, until the very air itself seemed to vibrate with the force of their tribute. Humanity had proven itself that day, not through superior firepower or tactical brilliance, but through the simple, devastating act of one woman choosing to die so that children, even children of another species, might live. The Pureblood Coalition was hunted down within a week. The elite guard showed them no mercy. And on HFY, in the courtyard where Mara Ellen had fallen, they built a memorial, a statue of a human woman curled protectively around 6 Vryn cubs, her body forever shielding them from harm. Beneath it, in both human script and Vryn glyphs, were carved 4 words that would define human-Vryn relations for generations to come. "She stood for us. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses."